versus this. Which one is cortical, A or B? A. Good. This one is the cortical. This one is the what? Juxtamedullary. Remember, longer name, longer loop of Henle. Realistically, it's the location of the renal corpuscle relative to the medulla. Okay? So, this is the glomerulus. The first twist that comes off of the glomerulus is called what? Proximal convoluted tubule. Urine's going to flow down, so what's this called? Descending limb loop of Henle, and then what? Ascending limb loop of Henle, and then what? Distal convoluted tubule, and then collecting duct. And then the bottom of this is called the what? Renal papilla. Good. What do you call this entire structure here? Renal pyramid. Good. If I ask you what layer, it's called what? Medulla. If I ask you what is the structure, you call it what? Now, you see these vessels right here that move straight up and down? What do you call these vessels that are following along the juxtamedullary? Good, vasorecta. Good, vasorecta, because vasorecta means straight vessel. What do we call these capillaries here and these capillaries right here? Peritubular capillaries. Peri meaning what? Around. And notice how it's on the side of the cortical. Everybody get that? So peritubular capillaries, peritubular capillaries. Vasorecta, vasorecta. Why is it vasorecta? Because it's next to the what? Juxtamedullary. Cortical is going to have what? Just peritubular capillaries. Do we have peritubular capillaries up here in the cortex for the juxtamedullary? Yes. Okay, they both have these peritubular capillaries. It's just that the what? Juxtamedullary has only the what? Good, the vasorecta. Okay? So that takes care of that. Next. Just shift all the cameras down, please. Thank you, guys. Okay. Now, we are looking at a view of the renal corpuscle. This is the afferent arteriole. This structure right here is called the juxtaglomerular cells. This structure right here is the distal convoluted tubule. This part of the distal convoluted tubule is called the macula densa. So the macula densa plus the juxtaglomerular cells are called the what? Juxtaglomerular complex or juxtaglomerular apparatus. I'll repeat that again. This is the distal convoluted tubule. Here's the afferent arteriole. This part of the afferent arteriole, these cells, are called juxtaglomerular cells. This part of the distal convoluted tubule is termed the macula densa. Together, the macula densa with the juxtaglomerular cells makes up the what? Juxtaglomerular complex. Together. Afferent arteriole leads into this structure right here called the glomerulus. If I put a sticker here, the answer is glomerulus. This is also part of the glomerulus, but what they did here was they left the visceral epithelium on. Everybody see these blue cells? Those blue cells right there are termed podocytes. The spaces, see those little ridges right there that look like sutures? Those little spaces right there are the filtration slits that we talked about. Does that make sense? Okay. This is obviously the efferent arteriole, okay? Taking plasma out. If this is the visceral epithelium, what is this layer? Parietal. What do you call the space in between the visceral and parietal layers? Capsular space. Makes sense, right? This part is termed the proximal or the straight portion of the proximal convoluted tube. So this is the first tube that comes off. What's the first tube called? Proximal convoluted tubule. Does that make sense? So again, visceral epithelium, parietal epithelium. If I ask you what is the epithelium, you say what? Visceral epithelium. If you say what's the type of epithelium, you say what? Parietal epithelium. But you need to say, I'll make sure I have this on tape, you need to say the visceral layer of Bowman's capsule. You need to call this the parietal layer of Bowman's capsule. Okay? If I ask you what is the name of this cell, you call it a what? Podocyte. If I ask you what are the name of the spaces here, you call them what? Filtration slits. If I ask you what's the name of the structure, you say what? Glomerulus. If I say what's the name of the blood vessel, you say what? Afferent arteriole. If I say what's the name of the vessel, you say what? Efferent arteriole. arteriole. If I say identify the entire structure or identify the tubule, you call it what? Distal convoluted tubule. If I ask you what are the name of the cells, you say what? Juxtaglomerular cells. If I say what's the name of the cells here, you say what? Macula densa. Does that make sense? Okay. Next.